Greetings and salutations from the CryptoQ Media, who is returning to my channel. From what I can tell, Ripple was sued for what everything has been laid bare in the court case. Plus, I think my perspective will be slightly different from most of the others you'll meet. We will talk about that. In my opinion, the fact that improvements are being made to the system will lead to more success for Ripple's payment services and higher usage of XRP. It seems that, in the end, everything turns out just fine. Nevertheless, I will share my perspective with you. There may be some discrepancy between what other sources tell you and the SEC's reasons for taking this step. It is highly unusual for someone to be as accurate in consecutive years, but this man's market analysis from last year was spot on. Tom Lee. How this develops is something we'll have to watch. The majority of the selling has already been done, therefore there is little space for mistake going forward, as he points out. The market's seasonality is an issue, that is true. We likely won't rush out of here immediately, but there isn't much of a downside either. Essentially, he claims that the cryptocurrency market has likely already reached its lowest point. You must realize that there are horrible things in this world. There is a presence of geopolitical risks. Like the United States and maybe the rest of the globe, I think you confront electoral risks. On top of that, there are other additional items. It seems like something terrible is occurring every single day, doesn't it? While a crypto-wide bull run is likely in the future, I still think we can make money at these prices right now. My goal has been to complete the year by the end of the fourth quarter for quite some time. Nostradamus might take their time. The overall Bitcoin market will erupt at some time, and you will be relieved that you clung to great assets. It might happen sooner rather than later. This is why I will remain onto this belief. In the event that we lose, the price cuts will be considerably more severe. I understand. No changes here, I'll just keep buying. I don't believe we have the time to play games here, as Rob Bart puts it, but this isn't a flawless game. It will be difficult for you to find the bottom. So, I'm going to be quite forceful about this. In my earlier post, I brought up 3 big blockchains that I was considering buying in the area around SUI and FLR. On the other hand, someone on X wanted to know if I was still going to buy SUI after that run, since its price shot up 56% on the 7th day after Rahul Paul wrote about it and how it may be an investment like Solana. Will SUI's funding be maintained? I will do it eventually. But while I wait for the market to level out over the next several weeks, I'll let SUI ride out its comparably spectacular rise. The close relationship between that and what Rahul Paul said makes me think the price will go down soon. However, knowing for sure is impossible. This is to inform you. If it keeps going up, you won't know what to do. If it does, I'll probably start buying again eventually, but until then, we're good to go with a good dosage of silliness. It worries me when there are unexpected, huge price spikes associated with strong forces. How it develops is something we will watch. The chief technologist deletes the token, together with all of its associated keys, Ripple tokens, and ledger data. He is mentioning the clawback feature. Some people are worried about this feature because it seems to go against crypto. Theft of any goods kept in a wallet is possible. He is, of course, only talking about issued assets, and stable currencies in particular, since they will be the ones to use this most often. Although crypto regulations are drawing near, no laws have been passed that specifically require this capability at this time. I think we're all ready. This feature is already built into stablecoins on most blockchains, like USDC and Tether. From what we can tell, you'll need this. Anyone familiar with the focused payment system and in possession of US dollars should be ready for the prospect of action by regulators, seizure of assets by the government, or rulings by courts. That is the driving force behind what they're doing. According to David, the ledger is inherently flawed if a digital asset represents a legal duty and the token indicates that the obligation exists, but the law states otherwise. His use of more technical language would be more acceptable to me. To be more specific, he could have mentioned when an issued asset or something similar. However, at the moment, this is only available for stablecoins and other issued assets, and users are required to opt into it before they can interact with them. The things you can acquire via completing levels in the game. In the grand scheme of things, I think that's what's important. It seems like something you'd do for the foreseeable future. The value of your Ethereum or XRP assets will remain unaffected. According to Joe Lubin, we might need this kind of capability on the Ethereum token for serious problems down the road. We have no idea what the future contains, therefore there's no need to worry about it just yet. It is only compatible with issued assets and does not function with native assets such as XRP. Daniel, your post and write-up were superb. Below this, I'll provide you a link to something that's truly professional and thorough. Reading it will keep you informed of what's happening. Well, I'll simply give my 2 cents on the subject since I think we're all curious about Ripple. This information is being disclosed by them as a publicly traded firm following their engagement with MoneyGram. SEC still had to enter all this blockchain data into it, even though they weren't technically putting in extra hours. What you're doing is going unnoticed. Their care for what you do is negligible. These transactions are now part of the quarterly financial statements of a publicly traded corporation, as this has made it into the public market. The SEC compares the MoneyGram's revenue to that of an on-demand payment business when the first quarter's figures are released. There is sufficient funds available. It may evolve into a practical payment system down the road, but for now it's too early to recommend it. This advertising campaign primarily targets the XRP cryptocurrency and the on-demand liquidity service. Furthermore, it should not be included in the revenue statement. You are need to put it as a counter account. That is exactly what they are doing. They came to the conclusion that this was a security offering, and it was an unregistered security offering that was done illegally. He told them everything about the arrangement of his own will. You are required to provide all relevant information because this is a publicly traded firm. When that happens, we can publicly state our disapproval of the SEC. To my mind, this has zero characteristics of a security service. However, after reviewing the on-demand liquidity situation, Judge Torres, a genuinely fair individual who generally sided with us, pronounced, "You know what, the securities laws have been violated." This is analogous to how you knowingly gave them all this data so they could develop a partnership with MoneyGram. They wanted to know everything they could find out. A serious security breach had been discovered, it said. They were successful in court. All of the information they provided to the SEC and included in the publicly available financial reports pointed to a fraudulent securities transaction. The judge ultimately sided with the SEC. Were they too busy pursuing unneeded targets, or did the SEC go too far? Yes, that is their job description. Sure, we understand. If you didn't have this MoneyGram partnership, the SEC wouldn't have to know everything about your on-demand liquidity activities, right? That's my point. A judge finally uncovered proof of an illegal securities offering and sided with the plaintiff after 4 years of review. I really doubt we would have persisted if this road hadn't been there. At this very second. At the time, would Ripple have known about that? In all honesty, I don't know. Frankly, I don't believe the SEC was attempting to sue them. I believe they were merely being overly assertive. They aimed to make XRP Ledger the industry standard, with exciting possibilities for use in payment processing and beyond. Like everyone else, I was hoping for this, but looking back, it seems like all it really did was give the SEC a securities offering and have an impartial judge agree with their assessment. I trust Judge Torres's ruling in this case, even though we shouldn't always trust the SEC. Consequently, this has been determined to constitute a security breach by two independent and objective parties. In my opinion, that is the main point. I think it was the basis for their case. But we have changed things. In places where sending payments is critical, stable coins will be used, while in other places where digital assets are needed, XRP will be employed. This is where the ledger is really shining. Long term, I think we can build a better Ripple payment system, which will let the company scale and save costs drastically. Paying people to use on-demand liquidity will become unnecessary as a result of this. I predict that this door will get a lot of knocks. From my vantage point in time, I believe that Ripple and XRP have what it takes to succeed in the future. Anyone who has watched my video has my sincere appreciation. Subscribing to my channel is a great way to show your support. Farewell for now. I will see you later.